Cowboys had a comeback for the ages yesterday when they found themselves down 20 in the fourth quarter. The Falcons led by 15 with under 5 minutes left, but then it was all Dallas. A pair of Dak touchdowns through the air and on the ground brought it within 2 points. Then came the onside kick that the Falcons watched dribble 10 yards and the Cowboys jumped on. Dak connected with CeeDee Lamb on a 30-yard pass to put Dallas deep in Atlanta territory to hit the game-winning field goal as time expired. Wild there inside Jerry World. Fox Sports NFL analyst Michael Vick joining us now. What a game, Mike. I want to start with you. Did the Cowboys win this one or did the Falcons lose it?
The Falcons clearly lost the game. They was in total control in the fourth quarter, 15 points with, under 5 minutes left, and they didn't put their foot on the gas. I mean, in times like that, that's when you bring in a guy like Todd Gurley to eat up some clock and get and seal the deal, put the Dallas Cowboys in a bad position. But throughout the course of the game, the entire game, I really felt like the Dallas Cowboys made mistake after mistake after mistake, and they'll find a rhythm, and then something else will happen, and it just didn't go their way throughout the course of the game. But Dak deserves an immense amount of credit for the win. I think it was a total team win because everybody did their part yesterday. Defensively being banged up, they showed up, at critical moments in the game, and I thought that CeeDee Lamb was probably one of the biggest reasons that the Dallas Cowboys was able to mount this comeback. Of course, Amari Cooper did his part, and Zeke. But, the ball was in Dak Prescott's hands the entire game, and he really showed that this was one of his signature wins. So, yes, the Atlanta Falcons gave the game away, but the Dallas Cowboys, they worked hard, and they did everything needed and necessary to pull out the win. And you can't take credit away from a win of this magnitude. It's so hard to win in the NFL, especially when you're down and especially when you have to come from behind in the deficit. So, I think this will be a win that can catapult them to greater things and greater heights, as the season continues. But, I feel bad for Dan Quinn. Like Shannon and I talked about a second ago, it can't continuously happen. You're blowing big leads and huge deficits. When you're in total control of the football game. But kudos to the Dallas Cowboys. This was a much-needed win because this conversation would have been totally different this morning if they hadn't.
The Falcons absolutely lost this game. The Falcons gagged this game. And by Dan Quinn doing what he did, he allowed us to take Mike McCarthy off the hook. You cannot, Skip and I, we were discussing this before you came on. They started tracking turnovers in 1933. That's 87 years ago. And when a team had scored at least 39 points, had 0 turnovers, they were 440-0. That's almost 9 decades in which they've been tracking this. 440. So think about how many things you've got to do wrong in order to lose a game like this. And the Falcons did everything they possibly could do wrong in order to lose a game like this. And all would have been forgotten. All you had to do, since they instituted the onside kick rule 2 years ago, less than 10% of the onside kicks have been recovered. Because, Mike, it's not like when you and I played, guys could get a running start and they could blow you up. And guys were looking to blow you up. You can't move until the guy actually kicks the ball. What makes it so more egregious is that they called timeout to see what they were going to do. You saw him put the ball on the ground. So what do you think he was going to do? Kick the ball out the end zone? I mean, dude, he set the ball on the side. The ball, obviously the ball is slick. You can look at it, you can see how slick the ball is because those are not the ball the quarterbacks throw. They get that opportunity to scuff those balls up. But those balls are basically right at the box. So with the sheen on the ball, on that turf, the ball is just going to keep spinning and spinning and going further and further. Now, inside of 10 yards, the team that's kicking the ball, they can't touch it. Atlanta, you can touch it. Not only can you touch it, you can fall on it or you can scoop it and score if you so choose. I'm trying to figure, I don't understand this, that an NFL player will sit there and watch the ball go. No, you can get it before it goes 10 yards. That's coaching. That's head coaching. That's special teams coaching. They lost this game They gagged this game. And given that he lost a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl, you think those players have trust in Dan Quinn? Absolutely not. Arthur Blank, he could have got back on that plane with me. I know he applied Delta, it'll get you there. But not with him. He'd have been on his own. Hey, bro, you good.
So Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
Greg the Leg Zerline kicked the ball, whirly-birding.
Yeah.
And the idea was to hypnotize all five Falcons.
It worked.
It worked. They're hypnotized. They don't know where they are anymore. They're watching it spin. You're getting sleepy. You're getting sleepy. And they all just fell asleep.
Yes.
And it just spins and spins. And he kicked it with side spin, clockwise side spin, where it starts to creep right. It's like a putt at Winged Foot in the U.S. Open on green number 1. You have to play these enormous breaks.
Right.
And it's breaking right. And it breaks all the way across the 10-yard mark.
Yes.
Until C.J. Goodwin of the Cowboys, who used to be on the Falcons the year they blew the 28-3 lead to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, comes flying in right on time and falls on the football. I would have, before that kick, I would have bet 100 cases of Diet Mountain Dew that there's no way they recover this kick. You can't. What are the odds now? Like 3%?
Yes.
It's under 10%.
It's under 10%.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's like 7 or 8.
So, Michael Vick, I was thinking of you last night because obviously I'm a Cowboy fan, and I was keying all night because I couldn't figure out how we won or stole that game. But I was also thinking about Michael Vick because some of your heart is in Atlanta because you were originally a Falcon, and a lot of your heart is in Philadelphia where they have become a debacle of a disaster. I don't know what's happened to them, but all of a sudden my Cowboys are somehow 1-1, and it feels like they're 5 games up on the Eagles right now, right?
Yeah. Well, we clearly gave that game away yesterday. You know, like you said, my heart is with the Atlanta Falcons, and I have to look at the flaws, and I have to be realistic about where they are as a football team. And, you know, back to the onside kick, Shannon, you know, we go through situational football. Like, we practice those situations, and if all else fails, you fall on the ball. If it's a penalty, then it's a re-kick.
Right.
You know, but you don't just sit there and watch that ball spin. And the only thing I could think about at that moment was, you know, coaching. How much, you know, throughout this pandemic have you practiced, you know, that scenario? That's a critical moment in the game where everything has to happen right. So, yes, you know, I was very disappointed in the Atlanta Falcons. I root for them. You know, I root for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, you know, I got respect for the coaching staffs. But when things like this happen, you know, it's only right to shed light on the things that don't happen because, you know, you take away from the players and these guys give everything they got to win football games. And, you know, for something so seamless to happen in a critical moment at a critical juncture in the game, it's just deflating.
So, Michael, give me your thoughts on my quarterback, Dak Prescott, because these are my thoughts, and then you bounce off them. The more I watch this young man play football, he is always at his greatest when things look lost, when they seem hopelessly behind. He is outstanding. He is a warrior. He will fight you to the death. Unfortunately, he's fighting to the death again and again. Last year, Green Bay at home, they're down 31-3. Remember, he threw them. He threw for 329 in the second half against 329 against Green Bay, and got them back to a little chip shot extra point of a field goal, which Maher missed.
Right.
Or they would have had an onside kick to tie that game, right? And then you remember him at Chicago. You remember him as a rookie against Green Bay in the playoff.